ever attended church in a small town, you know how quickly news of things can spread. This book is by Toni Shiloh. It's a very quick read. I listened to it with Libby. I adored it. When one of the main characters goes off to the NFL, his father dang near treats him like he said he's going to go fight for the Soviet Union. He's going to go be a communist. His father just is not all that hype when my boy is like, this is what I want to go do. Because his father is a pastor, he's a preacher, he feels like, oh, going to the NFL, you just using your body to go try and get recognition and fame. You need to be trying to use your body and your gifts for what God gave you. And the son is really like, Dad, how do you know that God didn't bless me to be able to go and be great at sports, to go and thrive in that way? Like, why do I have to use my spiritual gifts and my whatever God gave me the way that you want me to do it? And I feel like that happens a lot with some Christian parents, especially if you are a PK or a preacher's kid. Your parents will be like, oh, you done had all this in-home training. What you want to go and try and entertain the devil for and this and that? Like, if you say that you want to be a musician and it's not specifically the Christian sector that your family or parents feel like you should have went down, it's going to be an uphill battle. So the main characters are Jahleel Walker and Bebe Gordon. Jahleel, I liked him from the beginning. Again, he did go to the NFL. Their hometown is Peachwood Bay, Georgia. I've never been to that part of Georgia before, so I felt very submerged in learning about the area from the book. Bebe Gordon, I related to the most because she is recently divorced. She has a son with her ex-husband. The ex-husband got on some... He's just going to go live his life and start anew, basically. He has a new girlfriend. He really wants the divorce just to be over as quickly as possible so that he can just go ahead and relive his new life and get a fresh start, minus their kid. Now, that wasn't my experience, but I do see that happen a lot, of people acting like separating from the person they had a child with. It's just like the clean slate for them, and I've always thought that was so weird and interesting. Like, is that not child abandonment? Like, are you not abandoning your responsibilities? Just because things didn't work out with me and you in the relationship, that does not mean that you have to treat little Joey like he don't matter to you, because he still needs his dad. So Bebe, she just really is trying to figure out how is she going to cope with these emotions. And when her and Jahleel crossed paths again, they used to be kind of sort of like booze back in the day. Like, nothing went too far, but they were feeling each other back in the day. Again, this is a very clean book. This is a clean romance. There's none of that spicy stuff, okay? It's a Christian book. I have been making sure that I am intentionally seeking out more Black Christian authors to be reading more books like that, because I am going through a life change. And I feel like it's a good life change, though. I feel like it's one of those changes of just realizing I want to be more intentional with the content that I am consuming. I want to read content that reflects the life that I want to live, the life that I want to raise my family with. So that's why reading Christian fiction is really important to me. I do read some inspirational books as well. I do read some devotional type of books, but at the same time, I don't know why, and maybe this is just is my journey with God, but sometimes I feel like Christian fiction books hit me a little bit harder than some of those nonfiction Christian books that are supposed to be like encouraging you through this season or that season. Reading different characters and seeing the different ways that people respond gives me a practical guide of things I can expect or hurdles that I can be like, well, dang, how would I have encountered that in a situation? Or how would I have taken that on? How would I have responded? I also wanted to clip this video here. Everybody's experience with why they choose to go back to a church, why they choose not to go back to a church is different.
If you ask people outside of church, like, what's your biggest issue with the church? One thing that people will say is that, well, people at church are judgmental. And sometimes that's because we forget that we are only the grace of God away from being that same person that we're judging.
we were sitting in service and it was kind of tight. Somebody walked through us, squeezing in to get to a chair. And I'm like, yo, she don't have any respect for the fact that I'm trying to worship and she's a distraction. And I'm not even thinking, I don't know what this person had to push through to get there. I don't know.
And was like, I can tell when you take the communion, you do not have God in your heart. Brother, lock your eye and pray, because I couldn't understand why you're watching me take the communion when you're supposed to be doing your own thing. And try being pregnant without being married. Obviously not conventional due to faith. I understand that.
So now that I have that for you guys, it's not even that Jahleel doesn't want to go back to church. His dad really put him out of the house on some, the day you walk out of my house and you decide you're going to go play for the NFL, don't come back. I don't like when people give ultimatums like that to their children. And when I say their children, I mean, if I'm not on drugs, as long as I'm not harming anyone, I'm not out here breaking any laws, why do you have to deal with me harder than your boss on a job would deal with you for accidentally clocking in late? Why does it have to be so definitive sometimes? And I feel like that happens a lot. I'm black, so I'm gonna speak on it. I feel like it happens a lot in black households. It happens probably in other cultures too. It does happen in other cultures too, but I'm not gonna speak on what happens in other cultures because I didn't grow up in other cultures. I grew up with a black mom and a black dad, and that's what I grew up with. It is oftentimes, if you don't go to school and go to the job or go into the field that I want you to go into, I'm not paying on your student loans. I'm not helping co-sign on your student loans, because I feel like I trained you to be this, and I feel like I trained you to be that. So when Jahleel finally does come back home, his mom is like, oh, you can stay at our house. And he's only back home because of an injury. It's not even like he's back home on some, I got let go because I'm trash, I didn't make it. He literally got hurt. So his mom is like, oh, come back home. She's cooking him like the old school meals he used to love and enjoy. And sometimes his dad just has a smart remark after smart remark of like, oh, I'm surprised you even still like eating this type of food. All that gourmet stuff you used to getting cooked for you in the NFL. Dad, can you chill? Like, and I don't like that. What I will say is, since this was a Christian book, my boy Jahleel was very respectful. That does not mean he lacked boundaries though. He didn't just let his dad talk to him any kind of way just because that is his father. He did at one point have to pull his dad card and let him know, like, hold up, how many times are we going to do this? Like the first week, okay, you're still angry, even though our spat that we had was years ago. How long are you going to hold on to this? There also was a very good point in the book where there was a discussion being had of how people felt like Jahleel's father as the preacher, he ain't the type of person that people want to go to with their concerns. And that happens a lot. Sometimes you'll have spiritual guiders, spiritual leaders, or people that you're supposed to look at as a resource in certain communities. They have such slick mouths, such blunt ways of expressing themselves. Sometimes they come across as if I have to choose you, that is like the last option. You are the extreme Hail Mary. No one wants to come to you because you're bitter, you're old, you're set in your ways. Church is not as fun and as enjoyable as it is because you're so, why do we need to throw a Christmas pageant? Why do we need to have a Christmas ball? Jesus is the only thing we should be discussing for Christmas. Yes, that's fine. That's great. Tradition is amazing. We are going to discuss Jesus for during the Christmas ball. We're going to discuss him too. Can we also do other things as well? And I think sometimes some people have been saved for too long. I think some people have been saved for too long and they truly forget what it feels like to be newly saved. They forget what it was like when they were in sin. They just forget. They become so gung-ho for Jesus. The rest of us sometimes can't even relate to him. They don't want to have certain music playing at church, even if it's a Friday night for the youth, because that seems similar to church. That seems similar to the devil's music. Can we guide people in the same way your first week on a job, no one's asking you to go up there and help the pilot. You might be the janitor the first week because you don't have the training, you don't have the experience, you have not been through enough to be to the place of, I need you right here with me. You're supposed to be a reflection of Jesus, so you should be standing right here with me because I'm standing beside the pilot while I am working to become a reflection of Jesus. There's going to be some days where I might behave like Peter. There may be some days where I may behave like David. There may be some days where I'm like, I'm trying to be like Jesus, but I might feel like how Joseph felt when Mary came and was like, I'm pregnant, but I'm a virgin. Some days we might still have some skepticism, and you have to let people grow in their walk with God. I don't think it's something that people do with ill intentions. Sometimes our intentions are so good for people, and we want them to just, don't even fret over that. Don't even worry about that. Just focus on Jesus. Just focus on Jesus. That sounds good, but being practical, when people are newly saved, or even people that have been saved for a while, sometimes you have to let people sit in their emotions, sit in their feelings. Does that mean we're going to throw a pity party? No, but no one wants to hear, let's just pray about it, let's just pray about it, let's just pray about it. If I told you I just got fired and your first thing to say is let's just pray about it, depending on how much I'm going through that day, that might be the last time you hear from me for a few weeks. But at the same time, when you are newly saved, you do have to be mindful of who you are trying to befriend, who you are trying to have around you, because you just never know. You never know. You'll be thinking that you're being a vulnerable person, you're having a moment where you're trying to fellowship and bond with your fellow Christian, and their response, if you are not grounded in yourself yet, their response might not only turn you off from a friendship or bond with them, if you're not grounded enough, it could potentially turn you away from the church or from God. You just have to be careful. And the pastor in this book, praise God for character development, because even as old as he was and even as set in his ways as he was, Jahleel's father did change along the course of the book, because I think he felt some conviction of like, dang, y'all really don't be wanting to talk to me about X, Y, and Z? No. We don't want to talk to you because we know what your answer is going to be, and it's not going to be pleasant. I absolutely adored this book. It was my first time reading a book by this author. It's not available Kindle Unlimited, but that's okay because you can get it. I want to say the Kindle version of the book was under $6. The book itself came out September 24th of 2024. It has a ton of reviews. It has over 350 reviews. On Goodreads, it has 1.5 thousand ratings. So on Kindle, it's $8. Audiobook, it's available. Hardcover, I believe you can get it on her website. It is $41 on Amazon for the hardcover, $8 for the paperback. The book was 212 pages. I saw somebody in the reviews being like, this wasn't long enough. Y'all should have had it longer. This was perfect for me. When I say it was a smooth sailing book, it was so good. It didn't have Bible verse after Bible verse crammed down your throat. It was a very good pacing. It lets you not only see the characters as human, but also as imperfect individuals who are walking their walk with Christ. And that's all I can really say. Let me know what other books by this author I should be checking out. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next book review. Y'all know I drop book reviews at least twice a week on my YouTube channel.